Hello, and thank you for joining us. This is No Soundbites Allowed, and I am your host, Michael Voss, Dragon of the Southern Tier. I'm happy to be here with you today as we're going to spend a little time talking about your money. How much money you get to keep, how much money you're going to spend, and what are you going to be spending it on. In other words, we're going to be talking about the economics of the United States, but when you hear the word economics, everyone tunes out. No one wants to see a chart or do math in your head. So we're going to try and make this real simple. We're going to try and keep out the charts and keep the numbers down to something real simple so that you can see where the United States economy is going to go and how it's going to affect each and every one of you. We hope that you'll hear us out on what we have to say so you can figure out how to protect yourself and your family. Now, before we get started, we do want to mention that if this is the first time you are seeing our channel, we welcome you and thank you for joining us. We want you to know that we do long-form political commentary, and every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do a live stream with you. We reach out on all social media that the internet overlords will allow to receive your text, your chats, and your phone calls from anywhere in the world to share with us what you think is going on and how it affects you. And we do this because we believe in the First Amendment. We believe in your unalienable right to be able to speak. And we want to hear your voices. Because even if your government doesn't agree, even if the internet overlords don't agree, we believe in your free speech and we want to hear your voice. We hope you'll join us every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now we'll go on and talk about today. It's always tough because whenever we talk about economics, no one wants to watch those episodes, and they're always the lowest rated ones, but yet they have the biggest impact. It doesn't matter if you're working right now, if you're a college student, a retiree, the United States economy will affect you. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, a progressive, a libertarian. It doesn't matter who you are. It's going to impact you. So the best thing you can do is be aware of how it's going to impact you so that you can better prepare and be able to take care of yourself and your family. That's our position. Now, for those who may wonder, no, I'm not an economist. I have been a broker for about a decade. I am not a broker at this time, but I do understand economics. I do understand what's happening to our economy, and I am following that. So you can take this with a pound of salt and make whatever decisions you wish based on the information. The links will be in the description. But I want you to understand, this isn't the first time. We've been talking about these things for quite some time. You may recall, it was back on February 17th of 2021 that we first mentioned to you that the United States economy was going to crash in the second half of 2021. And I think we've been pretty accurate on that. Looking at what has happened in the United States and to our economy since that time, we're pretty sure we got it right when no one else was willing to tell you to prepare for what was coming and that it was going to be bad. One of the reasons why you're not hearing anyone else in the news media really point these things out to you is because I want you to understand, back on December 8th, we were told the White House went out to the major mainstream media, especially the left-leaning sources like MSNBC, CNBC, ABC. They went out to the major left-leaning news sources and told them all, give Joe Biden good, positive news. As it was reported, the administration is not happy with the unflattering headlines and coverage of the supply chain disaster and the handling of the economy. And so, quote, has been working behind the scenes trying to reshape coverage in its favor, end quote, CNN's reliable sources said. This is news coming from CNN about the White House. So you don't have to believe me, you don't have to agree with me. The fact is, even CNN is willing to admit the White House is fishing for good coverage, and they have been getting it. And that's why we've been told things that are absolute and blatant lies. You may have recalled this was back on December 8th as well. Job openings near record high 11 million job vacancies. That was in December. We didn't hear a lot of news about it because the news media decided to take a different direction. From December 8th going forward, after the Biden-Harris administration sent out its agents to twist the media and push them to be all positive all the time, we started getting stories like this. Joe Biden goes out and he has his historic day for economic recovery. That's the news media coverage of this. It was a historic day for economic recovery. And that was a bald-faced lie. It wasn't true. And as you may recall, when we went over that, the reason why it isn't true is because the economy is in trouble. The unemployment rate went down to 3.9%. That is absolutely true. It is also absolutely true that almost half as many people actually went to work in December as was projected. They were expecting 499,000, almost 500,000 people. About 250,000, 200,000 people actually got jobs in the busiest month of the fourth quarter. That's bad news. That follows a roughly 50% miss in November as well. The economy is not doing well when people aren't working. That's why we have 11 million people who are not working, and we have over 4 million people that quit their jobs. And essentially, the people who stopped working in 2020 are returning to work in 2022, and we're not able to get the new jobs up to pace. To bring it down to Joe Biden level, there is nothing historic about the economic recovery because America isn't recovering. And Joe Biden said this on January 7th because he knew the news media would cover it up, and he was getting ahead of the fact of what he knew was coming today. In fact, on January 12th, yesterday, Joe Biden said, today's inflation numbers show a meaningful reduction in headline inflation over last month. We are making progress in slowing the rate of price increases, but there's still more work to do. I remain focused on lowering costs for families and maintaining strong economic growth. He's reducing inflation. That's what he said. That's what that means. Joe Biden's like, I'm reducing inflation. Aren't you happy? We are doing great. Remember, this is a historic day. The United States in 2022 is in the middle of an economic recovery. Except on January 12th, inflation rises 7%, the fastest rate of increase since 1982. Joe Biden is lying to your face. He's lying directly to the American people. And let's throw out all the numbers. Just look at the chart. This is the consumer price index. This is inflation. And as you can see, this is back in 1982. This is right after the Iran-Contra. This was after the OPEC oil shortage. This is after the recession. And what we see here is, inflation dropped. This is after stagflation under President Jimmy Carter. And what did we see? It's been up, it's been down. And since Joe Biden's been in office, it has skyrocketed. It's not that it's just up, it has skyrocketed. Every single economic policy by the Biden administration it didn't just increase inflation, it has skyrocketed inflation. And that's the important thing to keep in mind. We're not talking about things just being off. They are off at record levels. It is as if the American economy jumped off of a cliff. And at the moment, and all the way down, Joe Biden is saying, not so bad. This isn't so far to fall, as we keep falling down lower. And you may say, well, Mike, I don't understand how this makes any sense. Okay, you're saying the economy's worse off. You're saying that inflation is going higher, that it's at a record level of growth, and it's been skyrocketing. How does that match up to me? Without using the numbers, how does the average person in America understand what this inflation is going to mean to us? What is it doing to us? Okay, you go to the grocery store, and more often than not, you are seeing shortages. Food is not there. The items you need to buy are not there. It means supply chain shortages. It means energy price increases. It means you aren't going to be able to feed your family as much, and often not even because, even if you have the money, the goods, the things you want to buy aren't there. This is from USA Today on January 12th, yesterday. Kurt Covington, the Senior Director of Institutional Credit at AG America, told USA Today that the trends for specific food shortages are intermittent and varied. Shortages depend on the item, store, and region of the country. Shortages can be driven by supply chain issues, consumer behavior, or environmental factors, so it's hard to pinpoint what will be affected next. So it's not just, it's about the pandemic. It's not just, there's a shortage. We can't have enough workers to take everything off of the cargo ships and transport it onto a truck and have people drive that truck across the country to bring it to your store. That's not just the only problem. By the way, the United States is manufacturing less and less of everything that we need. As you can see right here, and if you're looking, I want you to look on this row right here. There are 5 million less jobs manufacturing in the United States today than in the year 2000. The cost when you have a supply chain shortage, when there's fewer things being made, the more that people have to build things outside the United States, the more they have to ship it to us. And remember, the cost of fuel is going up. Now, it has gone up for the year of 2021, 49.6%. That is a huge increase. Now, think about that in terms of you have a ship that is coming from somewhere else in the world, and it's coming to a U.S. port, and it costs more money for that ship to run to bring you the things you need for your house, whether it's food or clothing or equipment. That's before it even starts even trying to get to your store. That's just to get it to the port. And then you have to spend even more money. Again, gasoline is up. Fuel oil prices are up. You have to spend even more money trying to get it from that truck to your store locally. That means it's costing more to you. At the end of the day, that cost goes up for you. What you're noticing is that there's about 15% of goods aren't on store shelves. Now, just to be clear, as reported by USA Today, normally if you go to a grocery store at any given moment, about 5, maybe 10% of the things that you want to buy may not be there. But right now, the unavailability, the things that aren't there for you, the things that aren't on the shelves is at 15%. Now, you may say, 15%, that means most of the stuff's there. It means that there is somewhere between a 50 and 100% increase in the lack of stuff you need. There is a shortage that has increased by 50 to 100% at any given moment, and sometimes even more than that. Because you want to have a hot dog, because you need ketchup for your hot dog, you need paper plates or real plates to put the hot dogs on, as an example. These things you need, they're not there. So they have to rush them to you, which means you have to pay not only for the extra gas that it costs, but also to rush it to you so that you can have what you need. And we are seeing things that are falling on the wayside And those things are, we're expecting food shortages. This is already being told to us. We already know. USA Today on January 12th is telling us there will be a shortage of food and baby food formula, cream cheese, aluminum. Aluminum, that means, and when you think about aluminum, think about a can of soda or anything that you would get in a can, canned food, whether it's dog food or your food, cream of corn, chicken soup. So there is going to be a shortage of all these canned foods for you and your pets. And speaking of pets, cats and dogs will have a shortage of food for them. Chicken tenders and other chicken products, Lunchables, toilet paper again, champagne. Well, that's not really important, but beer. And a lot of Americans drink beer, including myself. And there will be even more things. That's just the short list that USA Today was able to find themselves. That's in part why the inflation is going up and why it's going up in a skyrocket. In the meantime, Joe Biden is telling us that it's perfectly fine. Inflation is going down. We are in an economic recovery. Just like when President Obama told us we were in the summer of recovery and the recession got worse. A 40-year high in a skyrocketing amount of inflation. This is insane that we would be lied to in this manner. And I want you to understand, we knew this, and so did the major news media. If you go back, The Economist on December 18th of 2021 told us that inflation, there was two choices. And the analysts could tell us the truth because we saw inflation just rise and continue to rise. And when we looked at it, they were telling us, well, economists could either tell you that it's going to go down, as some of them did, or it's going to just stop at 7%. These are the same people who told you that inflation wasn't even going to get to 3%. Last year, when we came out and we gave you the prediction, told you in February of 2021, we were the only ones telling you that inflation would increase, that things you were going to buy would increase by double digit. And we were right. And now we're listening to Joe Biden tell us, no, inflation's actually going down as we're watching it go higher. They're lying to your face. In the 70s, under President Carter, we had stagflation. Now, I know a lot of my younger viewers may not know what that is. You may never have heard of this before. Stagflation is essentially when you have high inflation, you have low economic growth, and unemployment is high. And at the moment, we have high inflation rates with no growth in the economy. The economy has flatlined. And unemployment, well, it's not high, but it is. When you have 11 million people not working, when you have 4 million people who have quit their jobs and not being replaced, when we are not capable of getting people back into the jobs that they had in 2019, while it isn't high unemployment in terms of the headline, we don't have 8 or 9 or 10% unemployment rates, we also don't have people going back to work. We don't have people going back to new jobs or creating new jobs, and that's a stagnation. And again, that's the key thing. Stagflation is a stagnation. We have 5 million jobs less because President Obama helped turn America from a manufacturing company into a service country. We are seeing that not only are things going up because we can't get them, it's also because we're spending more money than we have ever spent before. We're at 29.8, let's call it $30 trillion in debt. The federal government is spending $7 trillion. That's almost double what we make in taxes, which is only about $4 trillion. We are spending 127% of the money that we have. And I dare you in your personal life to spend 127% of the money that you get. You can't do that in a week, let alone as a lifetime, and get away with it. Joe Biden is spending more, and he's telling us he's going to spend even more if he can pass Build Back Better. If they can twist the arm of Senator Manchin, if they can twist the arm of Senator Sinema, then we're going to spend even more money that we do not have and increase inflation even faster than we are right now. Joe Biden thinks everything is perfectly fine because he lives in the White House. He makes $400,000 a year. He's a multi-millionaire, and he doesn't actually go and buy anything. What we're saying is that not only is this going to continue, which is why it's stagflation, there aren't going to be a slew of new businesses made. People don't have that money. And people aren't going to suddenly get jobs that don't exist. That's not going to happen. And the prices are not suddenly going to come down because America's building everything. We stopped doing that well before 2000. And even since 2000, we're making less and less in the United States. So that means the cost is going to go up on a lot of things that you need. We believe that we will see inflation hit 11%. Now, I know you may say, well, Mike, when I go to the store, and I've had several people talk to us in our live stream, and they've told us that the cost of meat, the cost of certain foods have gone up 20, maybe 30% already. Overall, you can get $150 worth of food and fit it into a backpack, and you will still have room in the backpack to put in more food. That's how expensive it has gotten today. And we're telling you it's going to get more expensive. We're telling you that the government will admit that the inflation rate, that it's going to at least peak at 11% before we see it get lower. I would like to say that we're going to be wrong. We doubt that. We see no reason for why the inflation rate would go lower. We see no reason why the economy is going to improve. Now, what that means around the rest of the world is they're going to see costs increase as well, especially energy costs. They're going to skyrocket. It has already gone up. We've already seen that in Kazakhstan, a 2% increase cost the people, the public, to go out and revolt against their oppressive government, and Russia to come in to quell that revolt. We're going to see more of that around the rest of the world. The cost of energy is going up dramatically, and that's because of the eco-fanatics. And you're going to see that continue throughout 2022. But on top of that is the transportation and the lack of manufactured goods. China isn't going to suddenly make extra so that America, a country it doesn't like, is going to be able to have all the goods we need. They will slow down. I'm trying to make this as simple as I can. I know it's economics, it's world politics, it's hard to see. But I want you to understand and maybe take away this one simple thought. You're going to have less opportunities to buy things. It's going to cost you more to get things you want to sell to wherever you want to sell it. You're going to lose money because we're printing money. The more money that the United States government prints, the less your money is worth. All of those things put together will increase inflation. Even though interest rates are going to go up somewhere between 1 to 2 points, that means there's going to be fewer jobs available. Businesses will shut down and slow down the amount of jobs they're going to hire. More people are going to be out of work. The unemployment rate is going to increase. This is stagflation. And we're sorry to say that. But you have the opportunity to take advantage of it. Now, whether that means you make different investments, speak to your investment advisor about that, make the best investment that you can. Maybe it means that you start planting crops, simple foods that you can have in your backyard. Maybe it means you raise chickens. Maybe it means you do one of 1,000 different things for yourself and your family to prepare so that you don't have to spend as much. I don't have an answer for you on that. That's something you have to look out for yourself. But if you haven't been doing it, although more and more Americans are, and I think people around the world are, if you haven't been doing it, start doing it now. If you haven't been stockpiling, especially canned foods, if you haven't been doing that, perhaps you want to do it now because I believe very soon the costs are going to be up significantly more than what we have seen so far. Get solar generators, consider changing your lifestyle, and to reevaluate what you're investing in the stock markets. But we look forward to hearing what you have to say. Do you think we're wrong? Do you need us to provide more evidence? Do you believe Joe Biden that we are in an economic recovery? And if you do, what evidence do you see that is pointing towards that? We look forward to hearing what you have to say, and we hope that 2022 will be a prosperous year for you, no matter what. We look forward to seeing you every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll talk to you again soon.